SOS, help. What do I do tonight? Well, we're going to talk about it. If you feel like you're thinking about drinking more than you actually want to, then this workshop is for you. If you are a woman out there, just like I was, that is spending a crazy amount of mental load, mental tug of war, thinking about drinking, thinking about not drinking, thinking about drinking, it's a crazy loop. Today, we're going to break that down. And I just want to normalize that it is normal to sometimes obsess or fixate on an addictive substance that has a high reward to it in the short term, which is that dopamine hit like you would not believe in the short term. Keyword, short term. And so we're going to talk about that today. It's very real. So first off, the mental loop. Can we talk about the mental loop around drinking? I wrote in my book, Look Alive Sis, and it's very, very true. I actually had a thinking problem more than a drinking problem. Now, I will be the first to say I had an unhealthy, out of balance relationship with drinking, with alcohol. It was not healthy, it was not good, but it wasn't really the problem. Alcohol was actually one of the solutions that I had in my toolbox. If I looked in my toolbox back when I was drinking and I would look in there for tools, all I saw was a glass of wine. Can anybody relate with that? I would look at my tools for coping with boredom, stress, loneliness, celebration, connection. I would look at my toolbox and think, what can I use in my toolbox to make this go away or make this better? And then I would look at my, quote, toolbox, and all I would see was drinking. And that's not really a tool that meets all of those needs. In fact, what I've learned is it's not really a tool at all that takes me anywhere I want to go. But I had to learn that through really breaking down my thinking. So that's what I want to kind of focus on first, is the mental load of the loop. Okay, if you're catching the replay, you can put it in the comments. When do you start to notice your thinking shift? Where if you're anything like me, I woke up with great intentions. Some mornings I woke up with a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of a fog. And other mornings I woke up like, I am not drinking tonight, day 2, let's go. Or week 2 or month 2. You see, I could take breaks. I could stop drinking anytime I wanted. I couldn't stay stopped without being miserable, feeling deprived, totally left out. Even in my own life, I felt ripped off. Like, I can't have any fun if I can't have a drink. That mental load of waking up with good intentions, and then somewhere along the day, somewhere along the way, for me, I've dissected this pretty closely. For me, it was around 3 p.m. Kind of that height of the afternoon, pre-dinner, pre-evening shift, being a mom. And it was about 3 o'clock, low blood sugar, decision fatigue setting in. I've already made a lot of decisions. I've already done a lot of things right. In fact, I woke up, I had my prayer time, my quiet time, my meditation time, my journaling time. I'd go get my workout in. I would drink my green juice or have a salad for lunch. I'm doing all the right things. Meanwhile, for me, the mental load was this undercurrent of anxiety, this undercurrent of like waiting till, is it 5 o'clock yet? And then saying, no, I wasn't going to drink tonight. It's just a Monday or it's just a Tuesday. Or it's just whatever. And so I would wake up and I would say to myself, I don't want to drink tonight. I'm not drinking tonight. And about 3 o'clock is when I would start the negotiation with myself. I wasn't talking out loud to anybody else about my drinking. How about y'all? Is this one of your first times being in this community that you've really talked out loud about your relationship with alcohol? You see, I kept it all in my head. That's a big part of why the mental load was so heavy and so taxing, because I didn't have a safe place where I could wrestle with this out loud. That's why I created Sober Sis, honestly, because I wanted a place where I could talk this out, figure it out loud, and get it out of my head and really start to make some changes. But for me, I just kept it all inside. And I woke up with good intentions. My thinking was still valuing alcohol. My goal was just to try to deny it, suppress it, or avoid it. How did that work for me? It did not work for me at all, because by 5 o'clock, wine o'clock, oh my gosh, the mental load of the thinking about it, the thinking about not drinking, to thinking about, well, maybe I'll just have one. All of that, all of the mental load is what was draining and taxing. So by 5 o'clock, wine o'clock, you better believe it. Yes, ma'am. I was like, where is it? Because I deserve it now for even all the thinking I've done. I already feel like I've done like a mental workout. And so I used alcohol, sometimes even to quiet the voice inside my head about alcohol. Do y'all relate to that? Does that resonate with you? I would literally drink to quiet the chatter in my head with the mental tug of war around drinking. I was like, just have it. Just have one. Just have one, though. And I don't know about you, but rarely, rarely did I stick to just one. I mean, one glass, especially if we are following the quote rules of recommended ounces, like 4 to 5 ounces. That's a joke. Come on, people. I live in Texas. When we pour big, and we're getting, 6 to 9. So before I know it, I'm doing the bottle breakdown. In fact, if you've taken my 21-day reset challenge, in the quote runway videos or some bonus videos that you get from me, I actually have a whole video on the bottle breakdown, how I would just open a bottle at 5 o'clock to have a glass while I was cooking. It seemed harmless. Come on. A glass at 5 o'clock while I was cooking. And before I know it, it's 8 p.m. I'm standing at the kitchen sink. I'm cleaning the dishes. I had a glass while I was cooking, a glass while I was eating, and now I'm having a glass while I'm cleaning. And then I look at the bottle and I'm like, oh, great day in the morning. I've got that much left. That's enough for nothing. So I'm just going to finish that off in the bathtub and call it a day. Yeah, that's called the bottle breakdown. And the mental load, the fatigue, the thinking, and the mental gymnastics it takes to make that okay, when you know deep down that's not okay, that's not what you wanted to do, is exhausting. I just wanted to normalize that. I do, because I've been there. I lived it for years. And if that's you, I've got good news for you today. This workshop is for you. If you live some of your days or a string of days in that loop of wake up, think I'm not going to drink tonight, or I'm not going to overdo it, and then you end up thinking about not drinking all day until finally at 5 o'clock, you get tired of thinking about drinking. It's easier just to drink. But it's not the drinking itself that's exhausting. Granted, the older we get, the more it disrupts our sleep, the more we're getting the 3 a.m. wake-up call. That's true. But it's not the actual drinking that's exhausting. It's the actual thinking about drinking, even when you're not drinking, that is exhausting. Again, ladies, it is taking mental bandwidth. It is taking emotional, mental, spiritual, relational bandwidth, because all of that thinking loop could be spent towards creating a life that you love, creating this lifestyle that you don't want to numb out of. I think that's absolutely true. So it's the constant decision making. It's the constant negotiation. It's the constant thinking. That is what is exhausting. And that, again, is the very reason why a lot of us are turning to alcohol in the evenings, especially, is because we're so exhausted and we don't realize that we're actually making it worse. So key right here is, you're not tired from alcohol, although alcohol does disrupt your restored sleep. You're really tired from thinking about alcohol. So that's what we're going to work on today. How can you begin to not give it so much bandwidth, so much of your time, so much of your thinking? Listen, I've still got a full plate over here. I'm still really living life in relationship, being married, being a mom, being a friend, running Sober Sis. I'm still doing a lot of life, and I need all cylinders on deck here, all cells working. I don't have the time or bandwidth anymore to give that space to alcohol. It's not worth it. It didn't serve me. But here's the deal. Let's talk about it. Why your brain won't let it go. Again, you're not broken. If you can hear me say anything, I want you to hear me say, you're not broken. Your brain is not broken. It's working just fine with an addictive substance that has an incredible reward system attached to it. So your brain won't let it go because your brain is trying to find relief. Your brain is looking for the path of least resistance that requires the least amount of energy, thinking, and deciding. Okay, our brains are really wired for ease. Our brains are looking for ways to automate. Our brains are literally looking for ways to automate our lives. Think about it. If you were thinking through every step you took, every article of clothing you put on, driving your car, we should be awake, alert, aware, but think about how many things are automated in our life. That's what your brain is trying to do with your habits. It's trying to automate them so that at 5 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you're not thinking so hard. You just do it on an autopilot. And it's when you begin to really critically look at that choice and you want to change it, that the mental exhaustion loop can come, because now all of a sudden it's called cognitive dissonance. When you've got cognitive, that's your brain, dissonance, that means I want two different things at the same time. I want to drink less, I want to drink more. I don't want to drink tonight, and I absolutely want the way a glass of wine makes me feel, so I guess I got to drink it. These are two different things, but we want them both. And you know what? It's okay. Again, you're not broken if you feel that way. That is your brain actually working, because the cognitive dissonance comes when you get off of autopilot and you start to look at it. So I know that's where many of you are, especially if you're just starting with me right now at the beginning of the month. Every month I start a new 21-day reset challenge. So this video is on the first of the month. So some of you are literally on like day one, night one, here we go. How do you stop thinking about it? Well, let me give you a tip. I only say pro because I've had a lot of experience in this, not because I'm better than or I've arrived. I've just had a lot of time to practice. And the best thing you can do to actually decrease the amount that you're giving alcohol with your bandwidth and your time and your thinking is to just acknowledge it. Instead of trying to deny it, suppress it, avoid it, deprive myself of it, and act like it wasn't there, no, I actually brought it in closer and said, I have a craving. I want that, but I also don't want that. And I also hate the way it makes me feel. But wait, I love the way it makes me feel. But wait, I hate the way it makes me feel. I love the way it makes me feel for 20 minutes. I hate the way it makes me feel at 3 a.m. Go ahead and call it out. Go ahead and name it. Go ahead and look at it. Go ahead and just say that. And that's okay. I think that's a great way to loosen a lot of the hold that alcohol has on your thinking, on your thoughts, is just to go ahead and name it. Write it down. Get it out. Get it out of your mental loop. I think that's one of the things that kept me really trapped in the loop, was even the amount of energy and time I was trying to tell myself, I shouldn't feel this way. I don't want to think this way. And then you can't change a thought with a thought. You can't take your thinking. You have to like literally move your body, change your emotional state, go outside, go on a walk if you can, get out there, shake it up, because just sitting there thinking about thinking and going, I don't want to think about this anymore, I don't want to think about this anymore, actually makes you want to think about it more. So one of the best things that you can do is just begin to go, okay, I recognize that closer to the evening, closer to 5 o'clock, closer to the event, closer to whatever, I'm going to have mixed emotions about drinking. I'm going to want it more. I'm going to want it less. I'm going to start naming it. So your brain is trying to solve for relief. So when there's stress, and it's stressful to negotiate your relationship with alcohol all the time. I know, I know it is. It's stressful. It's kind of like a part-time job, but you don't get paid. It is like a part-time job being a drinker, because if you really think about it, you've got to think about getting the drink, think about not getting the drink, then getting the drink, then drinking the drink, then recovering from the drink. Oh my gosh, I have added up the hours. It's about 5 hours per drinking session that you have all in for buying it, thinking about it, doing it. It's really longer than that, because I don't know if you ladies know this, but I'm happy to tell you some science. The actual increased cortisol in your body lasts for days. Like if you drink tonight, you're going to have higher cortisol in your body Sunday, Monday. Yeah, right. You thought you could just be like a weekend binge drinker, like a weekend warrior. Yeah, well, you're going to pay for your weekend all through the middle half of the week. And then by Wednesday, that's why it's Wine Wednesday, right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, I'm so over it, because of the thinking. It's exhausting. So we get stressed, our brains scan for reward, and alcohol, ding, ding, it's familiar. Remember, I just talked about how our brains are constantly looking to automate, to bring us on autopilot so we can spend more of our energy and bandwidth being in like problem solving mode and stress mode. So our brain is thinking it's doing us a solid, like it's doing us a favor by going, no, you drink every night. Don't worry about it. You always drink at a networking happy hour event. Don't worry. We don't want your brain to overtax. So you always drink when you're stressed. Your brain is looking for, again, familiar path of least resistance, using the least amount of energy. So when you're asleep in your own life, like I was for years, you don't have as much cognitive dissonance, but you're also not fully living. You're not fully alive. It's when you're starting to wake up in your own life, when you're starting to say, hey, this isn't working for me anymore, that you actually have more mental load. And that's why being connected in a community like ours is so important, because you need like-minded sisters to help you offload that mental load by connection. By literally connecting inside our tribe, you're able to offload a lot of that mental load, because it's not just swarming around in your head like it was mine, where you're just going in this crazy loop and nobody knows about it. Nobody cares, right? Because you're not telling them. In our sisterhood, we do care and we do understand. You've got an incredible amount of type 1 understanding here. Type 1 means I get it. I get it too. Like that happened with me. It's not like I'm over here telling you something I don't know about. Oh, I know about it all too well. So that's the first thing I would want to say is, again, alcohol is familiar. So don't beat yourself up when you crave or want alcohol, even though you don't want it. It's your brain. It's your brain wired for that reward that it's gotten. But here's the deal. Our brain remembers the relief more than it does the regret. Okay? That is a huge, huge thing, because your brain is wired for reward, right? It wants to be rewarded. And every time you've had a drink and felt like your shoulders go down, or that kind of euphoric, blissful feeling of a buzz, that's why people drink, right? We feel that, and then we remember that. Okay, our brain is like, bookmark that, would you? Put a bookmark there, because that was really great. But here's the deal. It's not really great, because it ends up taking from you, not only for hours, but for days afterwards. Even one drink, much less a drinking session where you're having 2, 3, 4 drinks, opening a bottle and then opening another, losing count. That's when your brain is like, it is on autopilot, right? And it's actually the alcohol itself that's now in control. Your brain has literally been hijacked by alcohol. So it's important to know that your brain believes something helps. So it will keep bringing it up. Like, alcohol helped me. It helped me unwind. It helped me be social. It told me I was a better dancer. We've all seen the video. So our brain, it's trying to pull up what it remembers. It remembers the relief more than it remembers the regret. I've read so many great books in the quit lit world. That's quit lit, quitting literature about drinking. My friend William Porter wrote another excellent book. It's in my book recommendations. Not only have I written a book, I've read a lot of books about drinking, and you're thinking about drinking and your beliefs and all the things. And one of the things that William talks about is you don't often associate anxiety or hangxiety with the actual drink itself. We just think, oh, I'm just an anxious person. I mean, which came first, right? The chicken or the egg? And so what he says a lot of times is we have this euphoric buzz or this relief or this connection to the reward, and then it ends up costing us our good night's sleep, our health, our memory, all these things. And we actually have increased cortisol, increased stress, more anxiety. And we don't tend to attach the two. We're like, well, the drinking was fun. Now I'm stuck with all these negatives. I guess I need another drink to make them go away. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But you're not. You're not crazy. That's crazy. And if you can call it out as that's crazy, you're not crazy, I think you're doing really well. Last point I want to make is why our brain won't let it go. Your brain is trying to solve for relief. Your brain remembers the relief more than the regret. So again, if you can keep that in mind, we use a lot of tools here in our tribe. Earlier at the beginning of this workshop, I talked about how back when I was drinking, I literally looked at alcohol as a tool. to take my anxiety away, help me connect better with my husband, make me more social. I looked at alcohol as a highly valued tool, but it was a tool that actually took from me. It didn't aid me. It didn't help me. So I want to talk to you in this last point with good news, okay? Because we've definitely identified the challenge. We have definitely identified the problem. That it's not really a drinking problem. Yes, I had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, but I really had a thinking problem more than a drinking problem. In fact, it was my thinking about the drinking that was more exhausting than actually drinking itself. So what I want to talk about now is how to quiet the noise. How do we do this? How have I, in these years, and many other women that I've gotten to work with along the way, found a way to devalue alcohol to the point that you don't hear the voices in your head anymore negotiating with you about drinking? Here's the deal. And I say this often. If you're new, this is one of your first workshops. I'm so glad you're here. You're going to get to hear me say this over and over again. Well, first off, I've never regretted not drinking the next day. I've never regretted not drinking the next day. In fact, I'm making this recording on a Friday. I plan my Friday nights now based on the Saturday and now Sunday, Monday that I want to have. So a lot of the tools that I'm going to tell you right now are so practical that I did put them in the 21-day reset challenge. So if you're here for this month's challenge, you're going to love it because I'm just giving you a teaser here in this workshop. But what I really do in the reset is spend a whole day on a lot of these concepts because I want you to know you really can change your thoughts around drinking, the way you see it. And the more you devalue your relationship with alcohol, the more you devalue it as a highly prioritized, this works tool to a, that takes from me, it's not giving to me, then you'll look at it different. One of the things you can do to reduce or quiet the noise is to reduce the amount of decisions that you make around drinking, okay? Hear me on this one, ladies. It is so much easier, and trust me, I've tried it all. It's so much easier to make one decision than multiple decisions around drinking. When I was stuck in the detox to retox loop, I bet I thought about drinking or negotiated with myself. Am I going to drink tonight? Should I drink tonight? Am I going to have one? Am I going to have two? Maybe I'll just drink on the weekends. Maybe I'll just have white, not red. Yeah, my gosh. I mean, it's just so much. Oh, just even talking about it almost kind of like stirs me up of like, it's so stressful. It is so stressful. So if you can reduce the amount of decisions in your life in general, you know, again, our bodies are wired for repetition, less energy, and the path of least resistance. The more you can decrease your decision fatigue, and that's very real. I talk a lot about that in the AFL course, which is the next step after the reset. In AFL, we talk a lot about decision fatigue because when you're deciding what to wear, what to say to your boss, what to drink tonight, I mean, it's a lot. So if you can begin to reduce decisions, set out your clothes the night before, pack your lunch, take a familiar route on your way to work. These are good. These kind of relieve your brain of like constantly deciding. Decide in the morning, I'm not drinking tonight, and then I'm going to give you some practical tools so that you can actually follow through with that. You want to create structure. I tell you, anybody out there, leave this in the comments below. Are you a person of habit or like routine? I am. I do really good with routine. You know, you are. That was so much fun. I came back, I hit the ground walking and then started running. And then I've got my son in town. He's been in town all week. So I've been about 3 weeks off of my routine. And you know what? I can feel it. I can feel it. My decision fatigue is a lot higher because I'm out of routine. And when I'm in routine, I'm actually making less, what's the word, minor decisions so that I can leave my bandwidth for major decisions because I have to make those too, just like you do. So I don't want to spend all of my bandwidth on minor decisions. What am I going to eat? What am I going to drink? What am I going to wear? What am I going to say? Am I going to drink tonight? Am I not going to drink tonight? I'd rather minimize that racket in my head, that noise, and focus on intentional living, mindful May. How do I want to show up in my own life and be fully present, fully awake, fully there. That's where I want to spend my time now, not on all of these little decisions. And then just remove negotiation. Sounds easier it's easier said than done. I know, I realize. But one of the ways you can do that is pre-decide your evenings. We talk a lot about this in Sober Sis, the 3 Ps. Pre-deciding, pre-planning, and playing the movie forward allow you to stay in that driver's seat. That's the goal. You don't want to hand over the car keys of your mind, if you will, taking the analogy here. You don't want to hand over the keys of your mind to a mind-altering substance that's going to take you places you don't really want to go. That was me. I was drinking and I was like, well, I've lost my sober mind. So at that point, I wasn't the one really making the choices. Alcohol was. And that's not a good thing. It did not work for me anyway. So in the 21-day reset, it works because we remove a lot of that nightly negotiation because we're connecting. We're talking about it. We're taking away the isolation and the negotiation where it's just in your own head. So to the point that you want to mentally explode. So you end up drinking instead. In our sisterhood, what we do is we use that time for connection with other like-minded sisters. And we talk about what we're doing at wine o'clock instead of drinking. We encourage one another to stay the course. Keep your eye on the prize. How do you want to feel tomorrow? We're here really rooting for each other. And so if you can interrupt the loop earlier, if you can start to recognize, again, the goal with changing the way you think about drinking, or even the amount of time that you're spending thinking about drinking. The goal is not to deny it, suppress it, or resist it, or even deprive yourself of the craving thinking. It's better if you just say, you know what? I've got a craving, or I sure am thinking about it. I'm thinking about it because I've got mental tug-of-war because I want 2 different things. And you have to just play the movie forward and say, which one do I want more? The short-term relief, which is going to cost me way more than it's giving me, or more of a long-term rest, like rest for my head, my heart, my soul. That's what I want. And drinking never gave that to me. It gave me a 20-minute, 30-minute buzz, a little high. And then I spent all night long chasing it, or feeling bad the next morning and just thinking, well, I already blew it. I might as well have another drink tonight. And that's not what we're doing in our tribe. We're not shooting for perfection. We're not looking for how many days you can just check a box. We're looking for taking every opportunity to practice being mindful, every opportunity you have to practice creating a new alcohol-free experience for yourself so that your brain gets the memo. Look, I can survive a wedding, a date night, a vacation, a trip without a drink in my hand. And if you take the 21-day reset challenge, the good news is you're not having to do it alone or in isolation or just in your own head. You can do it out loud with other women who get it, where there's no judgment, no labels, no shame. And you're going to find a lot of what you've been looking for internally, first by just talking about it and connecting externally. Y'all have a good day. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being on.